Here.
Mario Morrow.
Here.
Chair Bell.
Here.
I have a quorum present.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Approval of the minutes from the April 15, 2025 meeting.
Is there a motion to accept the meeting?
Support.
Moved by Mr. Turfy, supported by Mr. Katz to approve the minutes from the April 15, 2025. That's a long time ago. A year?
It's June. Hold on.
Okay.
Which
Before
minutes?
you get in the meeting, go ahead.
Okay, so what minutes was
December 16th,
December 16th?
2025.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to move the minutes for December 2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next item.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We're moving to new business. Item number 1 is a discussion and approval of the upcoming millage renewal language.
Okay, welcome. Name and title for the record, please. The little green button is on.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dr. Haley Murphy. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of the Detroit Zoological Society.
Dr. Amanda Hanlon, Chief of Staff for the Detroit Zoological Society.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as we've discussed, the millage is up for renewal, could be up for renewal this year. And all 3 counties are going through the process of deciding whether or not to have it in November for the general election. So if you could please just discuss with us your rationale for having it in November as opposed to August, and what the strategy is to make sure it's successful.
Sure. We actually have a brief presentation in front of you too that we were hoping to walk through to kind of give you some of the millage history and also some of the impact, as well as we kind of frame up the discussion. So just to kind of level set on where we've been, in 2008, PA 49 was enacted to give the zoological authorities the ability to approve and levy the tax. And the first zoological millage was approved in the same year. The millage was then renewed at 0.1 in 2016. We are seeking renewal again at just 0.1 mils on the November 2026 ballot. You will notice in the resolution that you have and in the ballot language that is attached to it that this year, under the advice of council across the counties, we have been advised to account for the Headley rollback in our language. So we are not seeking renewal at any more than 0.1, but we did have to include language that indicates that we are renewing at the current millage value, and then we are restoring the value between that number and 0.1. We just wanted to point out that difference. So as far as the rationale for going in November rather than August, there are a few reasons behind it. One, there's quite a lot of coordination between the 3 counties to make sure that we are able to move everything forward at the same time and in a way that is prudent for everybody in the counties as well. We did a lot of polling and a lot of research, and we do very well in either time frame. So we did not have, necessarily a more compelling reason to go sooner in August. We also are thinking through the variety of proposals that will be put forward in August, and we have had some indications that for a proposal such as the Zoological Authority millage renewal, it would probably be more favorably received in November. That was from some of our county commissioners and others, because there are just so many other proposals coming forward. So we're very confident in going forward in November, due to our polling and to all the outreach that we've been doing. It also gives us, somewhat longer of a ramp campaign-wise, so we can leverage the summer season fully, especially with the opening of Discovery Trails Memorial Day weekend. We'll be able to enjoy the full summer season, interacting with guests and increasing our public awareness through that. And then in the fall, we'll really dial in on the campaign itself.
Okay, awesome. Any questions so far from members? Okay, all right. Okay. Do you want to go through the entire package?
Yeah. We just wanted to point out, the advantages of the zoo to our community, and especially review the county revenue and millage effect. So in 2025, if you want to follow along, the county revenue from that tri-county millage was $16.8 million, and that represented 31% of the total revenue annually that the zoo took in 2025. Oakland County, if we break that into the Tri-County region, Oakland County generated 7.6 million, which was 14% of that number. Wayne County generated 5.4 million, 10%, and Macomb County 3.8 million at 7%. And if you'll flip the page, we broke it out by county impact versus revenue. So in 2025, Wayne County residents represented 18% of our zoo attendance and 21% of our zoo members. Again, well, that millage represented 10% of our overall revenue. And then in 2025, overall revenues, we brought in $54.4 million total. And we'd like to break that out into this pie chart because I think it's easy to visualize where that came from. Earned revenue was about 50% of that revenue, total revenue. Public support contributed 36% to our operating budget. And then we raised through philanthropy and different fundraising avenues 13%, and other revenue 2%. And that was things like investments, interest on investments. And then our expenses, again, a pie chart shows them pretty clearly. Out of the $54.2 million in expenses that we had, we always like to run a balanced budget. 80% of that went towards our operating budget, and that's things like our animal care budget, guest experience, educational programming, our facilities and maintenance and capital projects. 4% went into our development department to raise funds through philanthropy, 4% for marketing and advertising, 12% for administration, and that included all of our technology, IT infrastructure. And then just a little bit about programming highlights. We brought in over 166,000 educational interactions last year, and that's things from everything from toddlers all the way up to senior citizen educational programming, classroom chats, day at the zoo and district partnerships. We bring in every first and sixth grader in the Detroit public school systems every year, come for a visit to the zoo, and every class gets educational programming through our amazing education department. We did things on and off site, like our nocturnal adventures. That's the programs we run for people suffering domestic abuse that are living in shelters. Dream Night, which is a night that we dedicate to families and children with terminal and chronic illnesses. And then we did a lot of community events and tabling. We do that every year, but last year we really kicked it up because our presence is really gaining popularity, so we get a lot more requests than we used to. We also brought in over 7,000 seniors last year. That was a 27% increase from 2024 for our senior days, which are really, really popular. Yes. And then, as Amanda mentioned, Fred and Berber Discovery Trails is opening Memorial Day weekend. So we're super excited. 10 new animal habitats, 7 acres of fun and engagement. We have a treetop canopy trail that's accessible. We're bringing in stingrays for the first time. We're trying something really aquatic, stingray tank. We're having a petting area for goats, chicken coops, anteaters, bush dogs. We have a VR experience coming where you can feel like you're trekking gorillas in Africa. A lot of new event space, an indoor classroom to learn about Michigan agriculture. So we're really, really excited about this. We'll do a public officials pre-opening. I think it's the 22nd, right? May 22nd. And a press event that day. So we're really excited to welcome everybody. It's going to be a real new look for the zoo. We're really excited about it.
That's about 2 years, 3 years.
Oh,
how long have we been?
Predates me. This started pre-pandemic, actually.
Oh, wow.
It just got put on hold through the pandemic and a new CEO. So we reimagined a lot of it, but I think it's going to be really, really fun space.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And I don't know if you have it with you, but the senior days for this year, do you have those dates yet? And if not, you can email those to us.
We do have our dates set for May and September. I don't want to misstate them,
Okay.
so I will follow up with the authority email address and provide those dates. We also just confirmed we will once again be at the Wayne County Senior Fun Fest, which I think last year we interacted with over 3,000 seniors there. So it was great. We really enjoyed that, and we've been plugging in with that team to find more opportunities to come out into the county too.
Okay, awesome. The opening of the Discovery Trails, can you send that in a electronic version so that we can share it with our constituents? I can put that in my e-newsletter, and then everyone can just share it within their own networks. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Scott, we asked Scott Vandermogen to come. Scott is our county assessor. I guess that's going to lead into the next part of this, which is the millage renewal language. And in front of us, we have the resolution. I again want to make sure that it made sense with the dollars and the rates so that we're all on the same page with Macomb County, Oakland County. We're all operating from the same playbook, as it were, with the language. So I don't know who wants to tackle that piece of it.
Do you want to start by mentioning what your council has advised and chime in with as it relates specifically in specifics or
Okay, sure. So just to kind of give you an overview, of the process more broadly and where we've been so far, we developed the ballot language and resolutions in partnership with our legal counsel. We've retained Honigman to be our representation for all matters related to the millage. Oakland County has a procedural step that does not exist in Wayne and Macomb County, and that we have to first take the language to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and they authorize the Oakland County Zoological Authority to then authorize the millage. So in the preparatory work to go to the Board of Commissioners, the lawyers, one, indicated that we needed to address that Headley rollback language, which we've indicated here. And then because 2026 taxable values were available last week, Oakland County and Macomb County did update those in their resolution and ballot language. However, our council has advised us that at this time, we should move this resolution forward with the 2025 numbers that are available for Wayne County, and then they will determine whether those numbers should be updated to 2026 via an administrative change, or if we would need to seek an amendment. So Scott, does that cover it for the most part?
Yes, that sounds accurate and like my understanding of things too. The reason for the discussion about the 2025 taxable values and 2026 taxable value, this relates, of course, to our discussion from yesterday with the county equalization meeting. These numbers, everything is literally as hot off the press as it can be. And I mean, the taxable value numbers that I spoke about yesterday, they're literally in my chicken scratch on my notepad here. They're so fresh. The assessment rolls were just due last Wednesday, and we're vetting the numbers and we're getting everything together for the equalization report. So we complied with the equalization statutory requirement for the meeting yesterday. But one of the communities was turning in its numbers to us 5 days late, and it happens to be a complex community. So we're digesting that information and going through that and getting everything together for the numbers. We have or will have the numbers for 2025 if we stick with that methodology. Mm-hmm. And then 2026 we'll have, as soon as I can transform my chicken scratch into an equalization report, which is what we'll be working on currently over the weekend, next week and so forth. I did talk to my counterpart in Macomb County, Kristen Seeloff, who is the equalization director in Macomb, and she and I mentioned she happens to have her numbers right. She's ready for prime time. I'm not just yet. But she and I agreed upon the methodology of using actual confirmed numbers with no element of subjectivity. So we have the actual financial report signed by all the parties, including yourself and yours truly, for the estimate of the tax revenue for the millage language. We like to and are asked to put in other hypotheticals that are subjective, like the rate of inflation, millage reduction, fraction rollbacks, and different things like that when we develop in other contexts where we develop things for the budget and long-term financial planning for the county. With respect to this, considering that it's being put forth to the voters and it's being reviewed by legal counsel, and in other words, they keep things from being sort of assailed potentially from a millage challenge if such a thing were to ever take place. And it's consistent with your legal counsel too. The director in Macomb and I, we're both of common understanding and concurred that better to use actual objective information in signed financial reports than to start going out on the limb more and more with hypotheticals. So the ballot language actually can tie back to source documents.
Is Oakland County agreeing with that methodology as well?
That was going to be the next person bringing into the discussion, but that's my understanding orally from Ms. Seeloff in Macomb County. So everyone will be doing the same thing. And then it seems like the only unresolved issue potentially would be whether when we finally have the final Wayne County numbers, ready for prime time, if you will, whether that should require a reconvening for the language, or whether it's just something that it can be sort of preemptively agreed upon. Hey, when we have the 2026 numbers, we'll incorporate that into our revision. It's outside my area of expertise, so I can't really speak to that, but we were able to facilitate support for that notion either way.
Okay.
Correct. And we're very grateful for the amount of time and, and analysis you put into it. This methodology is less speculative, and I think we're definitely comfortable with that. And then, we are working across council in all 3 counties to determine when and if those values need to be updated, what the best methodology to update them is, as far as whether it's amendment or if it can be changed administratively.
And that again protects us from any challenges that may arise from the ballot language.
Exactly.
Any questions from members? Before you should have the actual language, the ballot language, and then you also have the resolution. And we are going to vote on both of those. So if you want to take a moment to read, if you haven't already read the millage language, do that. So all of this language would be on the ballot. Now, was all of this on the previous?
No, the language changed significantly in part due to the paragraph about the millage.
The millage group, yeah, okay. That's a lot of, okay, so we're going from 1 paragraph to 4. I don't know if, not, this is like a part of that clerk question. I mean, I guess they have to print it no matter what it is. I wonder if it will cost more to print out this and all the additional language. But this was, this,
I don't know,
this
but
was our 1 paragraph the last time. This is our, this is what's going to be on the November. Any questions about either the language or the resolution?
Move approval. Or
Both?
yes.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Turfy?
Yes, I had a question. No, the ballot language is long. And is there any concerns about how long? Have you guys vetted this out, talked to other people to see?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can speak into your mic.
Yeah, the question is regarding, obviously how long the ballot language is. And have you guys, got feedback from experts that know this stuff and understand it to see if there's an impact? Because, reading it, it sounds like you're definitely trying to make the point of a renewal.
right.
It really is, definitely sticks out. There might be some redundancy. But wanted to kind of hear the feedback on who has reviewed this and what was the thought process for that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of revisions on this with our consultants Byron Fisk and Honigman to try and get it as narrow, but also pointing out the benefits of the zoo according to what our polling said would be the most popular points to point out, which was animal care and education. The Headley rollback really caused a lot of disruption in how succinct we could be. But we can take this advice back to them.
Yeah.
But we're also a little concerned about the length of it.
Yeah.
Because I look here, this is what the ballot was last time. You see, it's like right here, right?
Yeah.
It will be all the way down here, probably into the next column.
Yeah.
With the way it is right now.
Now, could you elaborate further regarding the Headley? You brought up Headley. Can you explain that further, what that means?
So every year, since the millage was renewed in 2016, the Headley rollback is applied to make sure that the millage rate doesn't exceed the rate of inflation. So it was originally intended to ensure that organizations that receive a millage don't necessarily receive a windfall if property taxes should escalate, beyond the norm. So every year there's this calculation that rolls it back, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit more. Well, after 10 years, it's a significant amount of rollback from the original rate that voters approved at point one. So what we're doing in this language, and this was, at the advice of council across the counties also, was if we wanted to go for a straight renewal without any restoration language, we could only renew at 0.0982. And then that value would be subject to Headley rollback every year. So the incremental, the cumulative financial effect on the zoo would be very significant. So after, crunching all the numbers financially, we made the decision to go forward at the renewal of that value, but the restoration of the remaining value that had been rolled back so that we can start again with a 0.1 rate. Part of why this language expanded to the degree that it did is because of that explanation here, but also I think there was a feeling that there needed to be additional justification and pointing out that 0.1 is what voters approved in 2008 and in 2016. Now, could we do that with more brevity? I think that's what we need to, to talk through. But that was the prevailing logic, was if you're going to ask voters not only to renew, but to restore, you've got to really demonstrate to them that this is not any higher than what they've already approved twice in the past.
Yeah, in the past, both times when it was on the ballot, what was the final results?
You mean the voters?
The voter up.
It varied in each county. I think that the lowest approval rate was about 65% in Macomb County, and it was over 70 in Wayne and Oakland. Our polling currently, and I mean, a lot is happening out there right now, and a lot is changing very rapidly. But the public perception polling we conducted in the fall did actually show us at slightly higher rates of approval now than 10 years ago. Given some of the events taking place in society and economically, we are going to do a baseline poll again at the beginning of the summer to validate those results, and see where we might have some additional pressure points because of things changing.
Yes, Scott.
Thank you. If I may, this is DCL Turfy is well aware. This is a little bit different, just for context for everyone, as far as special purpose taxing authorities and millages go. A little bit different from the transit authority proposed millage, where the current millage is, I believe, it's 0.9890 currently. That has nothing to do with this, but that millage, by contrast, is being put forth for a renewal at its current level. In contrast here, it's the current level plus essentially dispensing with the erosion of the millage rate, if you will, as a result of the Headley Amendment. So different philosophy for different contexts. So that's why the language would differ somewhat between what eventually becomes the transit authority's language and the zoo language. There's that technical distinction. One is a restoration, or actually technically it is a tax increase because the level of the tax is slightly rising by 10 thousandths. I remember my high school math correctly. But so it's very incrementally changing, as opposed to transit, where the big change for transit obviously is the opt-in versus opt-out notion, but the millage rate itself is being sustained at the current level.
The success results definitely from the past are very promising.
Yes.
So, okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So I guess I think this is a concern everybody had, is the length of this the ballot language. And I know the state has a very strict 100-word limit. And my question is, have you guys researched, because the state, you can't go over 100 words with state ballot proposals. I'm trying to figure out what Wayne County's limit is, maximum. Yeah, I don't know. There is and I know most counties follow state with ballot initiatives.
We will find that out.
Yeah.
This language is heavily, drafted by, Mark Fisk from Byron Fisk and our corporate counsel, so.
That may be something.
But we will question that for sure. Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
And I understand the reason why, to be clear to the voters, what the language is. I totally get that. But I think if those persons who want to renew the language want to renew the language, I don't know if they will really care that much about the nuances like we do.
Right.
I mean, I'm throwing that out there too.
And I know you can also go through a pre-approval with the ballot language. So maybe try to run it through at a shorter length and get the pre-approval in writing from the clerk.
Yeah, just to make sure, and because this is a renewal, we don't have to have the 60% approval threshold as we have for a new millage. So this can just pass with 51% or 50%, and it'll be fine in all three counties. And based on the previous vote, we should have no problem getting to that 50% voter approval.
In an event, if we were to approve this today, and they decide that later you want to come down and shorten it, would we be able to call another meeting to make that amendment?
Of course, of course. I think the intent obviously is there. It's just the
Right.
exact verbiage is what would be in question. But yes, but today there's a motion to approve both the language and the resolution. And again, if we need to come back to shorten it, if all three kind of agree that we should shorten it to get to the point, then we can certainly have another week to do that.
Call for question.
Call the question, and I have one lawyer question. Go ahead. I have a lawyer question. This is our counsel. I know. Well, go ahead and ask him. Well, you may ask him. Felicia Johnson.
So I apologize. I was upstairs trying to listen in. So did you say the legal counsel said that a change in language won't make this a new and it's still going to be a renewal, even if you change the language and not just the numbers, but the actual language, it could still be a renewal?
Correct. They indicated, and that's why in the body of the language, we have renew and restore. So that they did indicate we have to include restoration language in it. It can still be termed a renewal because we're renewing the 0.982, and then we're restoring that value between the current millage value and 0.1.
Even with the change in the more.
I have another comment. I do have a comment. I'll comment offline about that. And then just for this body's sake, because the zoo is a separate legal entity, ultimately the language that you approve is your decision, right? Because you're doing this with them on their behalf, and they're assisting you by giving you this. But in the end, it's your decision with regards to what you decide you want to put out on the ballot. But of course, considering the recommendation from the zoo itself.
Yeah, so there's a question to that. So every county could have different language, right? Or do they have to be consistent?
Yeah, I mean, but I think that you have to be consistent. If this is a renewal, it has to be consistent with what you've already done. So you're really not straying far from what you've already done. And I know for Wayne County, and I can't speak for the zoo authority, if it's a new village, the vote that's needed is significantly different.
Yeah.
And that was one of the questions that I was asking the chair. And the text was like, if this is considered new, would that change the number of votes that would be needed for the zoo authority? It would. And that could, so there are some things that probably should be discussed offline regarding this, making sure that this change in this length you're comfortable with, and it won't be. Yeah, I'm okay.
And I think we need to be consistent with all three counties need to be consistent, right? I think that's the big thing. It shouldn't be drastically different from county to county.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
You could have differences between them, but we get concerned about that causing confusion.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, and I know, Commission Council, I don't think, had the benefit of hearing the process so far, as far as that, you know, we started out with the draft from, you know, the campaign team and the legal counsel, and then this did go to Oakland County Commission Council as well. Oakland County Commission Council really had a hand in that renew and restore language. And that was vetted by the Commission Council team there and Honigman. So that renew and restore was a big point of conversation in being able to keep that renewal language in here, you know, as long as we have the restorative component.
All right, thank you. I think I heard the question being called, but I will entertain if there's any other discussion or questions from members before we vote. And I think the caveat to the vote would be if deemed necessary to come back with brevity in language, we will certainly entertain that. We're going to approve this if we need to, but right now, yes, yeah, if we need to. But as of right now, I think the consensus is that we approve what's before us today. Okay, so all in favor of the resolution and the language presented today, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ayes have it. All right, very good. Next item. Oh, and you provide an update, I think, in your slide, correct? Any additional updates you'd like to provide at this time?
No.
The Sunset at the Zoo, which is a very great way to have additional revenues for the zoo, is upcoming on June
18th.
June
Yeah,
18th.
it's a Thursday this year, because we wanted to make sure everybody could observe June 19th. So please, if you can, try and come. It's going to be fun, and pray for no rain.
We pray for no rain every year.
It'll be the first like nighttime big public event in the new Discovery Trail space. So we're
Awesome.
really excited to show it off that evening.
Very good. And then I think at the last meeting, there was a gentleman that called in about the View Fest, if you all recall that. And he spoke to how that's the night where the day where different providers come in, and that is going to be June 12th.
Yes.
And that's from 8 to 12:30 on the 12th?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's what he
It
gave me.
usually
So
runs around there.
we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we get information about that to share with our network as well.
Yeah,
This
we can
is-
send
this-
a list of upcoming events. The 21 and over events are starting in May too, which, you know, they're really fun too. So it's spring, summer, fall, and winter events that for the beverage loving 21 and over crowd. They're really fun.
Very
So.
good. Hold, please.
Sure.
There's no word count.
There is none.
There's no.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
You just
But
have a
we
question,
hear
okay?
the
You find
message.
it. You
Yeah.
can cancel, okay? Call your daddy, okay?
Okay, yeah, that would probably be better.
You can
Okay,
find it.
how do we
Call him.
rescind a motion? So I think the motion for the language per advice of counsel should, so that we don't necessarily have to come back, could be a little bit more so that we approve it with any language that may be appropriate, any change that may be appropriate, and what that's going to account for our actual numbers that we get from Scott, because currently these numbers here aren't actually right. They're not the same. So it needs to really it needs to reflect the fact that those numbers are going to be accurately depicted once we get them for the April 30th meeting. So how do you say that? Because
Would like to amend language to give the assessor the flexibility to put the most current numbers into the formal proposal.
Thank you.
Support.
All right, thank you. All in favor of that, say aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Amanda and Haley for coming today. Thank you for all the effort you're putting into this. I'm sure we'll be successful, but you want to make sure that we have it done correctly and in order so that we won't get any possible challenges. But I'm sure the public will continue to support and improve the villages because it's so very important to our region. So, but thank you for all the work that you do. Make sure that it's accessible for all our young people to our seniors and everyone in between. So we appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you all.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next item.
Such other matters as may be properly submitted before the
Are there
authority.
any additional matters presented before the authority? Public comment?
We-
Oh, we have someone online for public comment.
We have Glenn from ViewFest on the line. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get it working here since our Zoom isn't working.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Glenn. Can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good to see everybody or hear everybody at least. I know I was here last time speaking a little bit about ViewFest, and I know you touched upon it just a minute ago, but just to give you a quick 2-cent update, the event is July 12th. The event web page is viewfestmhf.com. We currently are expected to have over 215 tabling sponsors with 350 organizations represented and an attendance of around 5,000. Our focus this year is social determinants of health. So we'll have representation for food insecurity, housing insecurity, things beyond that, not just mental health resources, but things that actually address root causes. It's a free community event. So we're working with the county directly and trying to get them involved and some other organizations within Wayne County. But we look forward to the event. And if anyone wants to join, the registration is at that event page.
And just to confirm, the date is July 12th.
July 12th, that's correct. It starts at 8 a.m. and goes till 12:30, but all of that information is on the event webpage.
Would you have a flyer that you could send to me, Glenn, for the event?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Would you have a flyer that you could send to me?
Yes, I sent it over
July
this
12th.
morning. So I believe, I'm not sure who received it, but whomever got it, I think they can distribute it, or I can send it to whomever. I need to know where to send it to.
Look at the email. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
There's no people on the line for public comment.
There's no one else online and no one on the telephone.
Okay, thank you. Next item. June 22nd is a date proposed for our next meeting at 10 a.m. That will be the meeting for the audit. The audit company will come and present and we will approve the audit. The audit has to be approved by June 30th. So let me know if June 22nd at 10 a.m. Pam will send a notice to everyone. Hopefully that's okay with Commissioner Marecki as well. Is that okay with your schedule right now, Mr. Turkey? June 22nd? That's a Monday.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll have the audit presented to us at that time. All right. Any additional comments by members? Comments? So moved. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you.